Hi everyone, I'm Carol Keller, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Illinois, and I'm here today with several card alternatives to this month's paper pumpkin kit, which is called Autumn Abundance. I had a lot of fun with the kit. I used the card bases from 2 of the 3 cards to create new cards, and I also created a 4th card. I created 3 cards out of those, 3 different ones. I created a 4th card that actually came from the 3rd card because I decided to do something fun with the inside, and when I did, I thought this would make a great outside, and so I used it for the card front on the 4th card. It uses the stamps, some of the stamps in the kit, so that you can get kind of more bang for your buck, because I like doing that too. And I hope you enjoy them. Let's get started. Here is the kit, and it comes with a Cajun Craze ink spot. And of course the directions shows how the cards are meant to be made if you make them the way they show there. Always double check. I'm sure you're tired of me saying it, but it's really important. Always double check that you have everything that you need that's supposed to come with the kit, and reach out to Stampin' Up! If you don't, and they will make it right. These are the companion dies that go with the kit, and I have them right here. They're called Every Celebration dies, and we will use the leaf one because it is the companion to this month's kit, and it comes in handy for making extras, so I'll show you what I mean when we make that card. And then of course I love this. As I explained last month when I learned for the first time, I guess the idea is that it's supposed to be folded in half, and you put adhesive here and here and then slip your stamp set in, but I am still not doing that. I am cutting it off and using this as a reference. So I have a little booklet that I have made that has all of these in there, so then I know just exactly which kit I need. It helps me to use old stamps, and so that's what I've been doing. We're actually going to use some stamps from a previous kit from a couple months ago, so you'll see that when it comes up too. But that is it, and let's get started with card number 1. Here is the first card that I made, and it is a fun fold. I decided I wanted to do something a little different, and fun folds are always just that, fun. So that is what I did. We're going to move that aside and get started right away. I have a basic white card base, typical size, and all I did differently besides score it in the middle was to score it halfway between the middle and the end. And that is, if this is 4 1/4, that makes it 2 1/8. So let's make sure we've got it in the right spot. And we give it a score. And then here it is folded in half. And so what we're going to do is just fold it back just like that. And that makes the front of our card. So we'll move that aside for just a second. I'm not going to worry about, I usually will flatten it with my bone folder, but we're going to be working on the inside, so it's not going to matter. We'll do that at the end. So I have to start with half of one of the card bases. This was, I think, the front half, and this is the back half. I can't remember if it goes like this, maybe that, yes, it does. So this is actually the front. This was the back of the card. And so it doesn't make any difference, except that we'll have a little bit more over here, less white space, and a little more white space on the card front, but I don't think it really matters. And we're gonna cut this down then, because we need 2 panels that are, I believe, 2 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and I'm gonna double check that since I did not write it down. Yes, 2 inches. Both of them are the same. Both are 2 inches. So that is what we will do. I'm going to bring in the trimmer one more time, and I'm going to keep that nice long panel. So we'll do 2 inches there for sure. Or actually, we'll cut this down to 5 1/4 first. And I'm going to take that off of, again, the top, the white space, and then 2 inches here. And so actually, I just had a thought about what we're going to do, and I want some blue in there, so I'm going to take this side and do 2 inches. We got a little bit, little Oh, it must be from this one. Little point there of something. I think that's okay. We're gonna leave that. Oh yeah, because this is the fold for sure. And that's the other thing I did was I did take my bone folder and flatten it like this to kind of get rid of that crease and help it to show less. And it works pretty well. So do that as well. And I am gonna still use this. I want that blue end. And the reason I could cut off a little bit, but we are actually going to use this extra piece to decorate the inside, and so I don't want to cut it down any because I don't want to lose that. I don't want to make it any narrower. So we've got our 3 pieces, and then so I have my choice, like they line up this way, but this is actually going to go in here anyway, and I think it will actually end up looking better if this, because it lines up, is with the front, on the front panel. And then we'll put the taller one here. So it will be, oh, I guess that's what we were gonna do anyway. I was thinking of changing it up and putting this here so it's taller. Let's see. Because I do like that look too. Maybe we will do that. And then because you can see here, it shows that it's sort of extending it. But I think I'm not gonna worry about that. I think we are gonna do this. We're gonna put it like that, so that it's a little bit higher on that left panel, because I like that. The whole reason that I put the leaf there was to cover up a little bit of that white space. So I'm still gonna do that. Okay, thinking out loud here. So I'm just gonna put this all on, whoops, with my Stampin' Seal. Got a little hair there, and we don't want that in there. There we go. And we'll put this panel then on the right-hand side, on the inside, just like this. Yep, perfect. So it's got an even border on both sides, or pretty close. This will go on the front. All right, we'll do it this way. I normally turn it to the side because it's easier to see. Then because of the fold, and I actually am going to use my bone folder here, because of the fold, we have kind of a narrow margin, narrow border on the left and right sides, a little narrower than the top and bottom, and that's just because of the fold. So I could have cut it a little narrower, but that's all right. I think it's gonna work either way. And yeah, I think that's good. Okay, and then like I said, we're gonna put the other strip right on the inside. Like this. Now I am going to turn it because it's easier for me to see it this way. And there's a little bit of glue there. I may take my glue eraser because the seal is wider than the strip. So I think I will grab it right now. Yep, that's better. Okay. So now we're going to do some stamping. So I'm going to move that aside for the moment here. Now I used for the first card a component of the kit that's got that really pretty copper edge to it, and of course it matches. There are copper highlights in the card. And so I use this, but there are only 4 of them, and there are 3 cards, so you can actually, because we're cutting them in half, we can make 6. So for the other 2, I cut out one of the deckled circles from the Deckled Circles dies. So it's about the same size, maybe a smidge smaller, but pretty close. And I'm going to use that instead on this one, just to show you. So once you run out of the 4, you'll need 2 of these to make your 6 cards. And so we're going to bring in Night of Navy. Move that out of the way, make sure it's not in the way. And we're going to use one of the stamps from the kit that says Thinking of You. Some good ink on there. And stamp it in the middle. So it will not have obviously the pretty copper around the edge, but that's all right. It's got a little bit of an interesting edge with the decals, and then we're going to use that same Night of Navy to stamp the inside sentiment, and then we'll use it again for one of the leaves. So we'll move that out of the way right now. And I'm going to open this all the way up. Sentiment goes here. And then we need one of the leaf stamps from the kit, since we've got the Night of Navy. Again, making sure it's got good ink. And we're going to stamp that right here. So, and I did the same thing on the envelope. I'm not going to do it now, but the same thing is on the inside, goes on the envelope so that they coordinate. But like I said, we're done with Night of Navy, and I'm bringing in Pecan Pie because that's what I used for the second leaf. Could use Cajun Craze too. And we're gonna stamp that this way at an angle. And last but not least, we're bringing in Wild Wheat. And that's gonna go in between. And I could have masked, but I didn't feel like it was really necessary, so I could have created a mask so this looked like it was behind the other two. So you can certainly do that, but I just chose not to. I didn't think it mattered that much. And so then our stamping is done. Yeah, I'm gonna grab that bone folder now and work on both of the folds a little bit to help it to lie a little flatter. As you see, it doesn't lie completely flat, but that's all right. And then this goes, I put it up more toward the top, and actually it is going to cover up my leaves. Maybe I think I'll put it here, more in the middle, so it peeks out of the top. The leaves over here peek out of the top. Just remember, you only want adhesive on this half, so I'm going to flip it over, and my seal then goes here. Yeah, I think we'll do it about like that. More toward the center. And then I put the leaf in. This is the one from the kit. So that's this, but I want to show you, I also cut with the die that I just showed you. I cut one in crushed curry. And so they look, the shape obviously is actually identical. They're the same size. And the color is just a smidge different. So we're going to use this one. So you need, I think, 3 of these. I think 3 of the other ones come with the kit. And so then I wanted it to kind of go in that white space. So all I did was put a glue dot here in the back. So I definitely wanted to hold, since I know that it's just going to be on that one little section, because if we put it anywhere else, it would stick to this part of the card. So I actually have glue dots. Well, let me see if the big ones will fit. The ones that come with the kit are larger. They're pretty large, actually. And yeah, I think that's too big. Well, maybe not. But if you're concerned, you could use a smaller one. So I'm just going to put it right there. Take the paper off. And we're going to put it just right here. And there you have that. And then we just need some bling. For that, I'm using the faux glass dots, because again, the colors coordinate. So I'm going to grab my take your pick tool, and I just use several of them. I'm going to do the same thing, scatter them around the card. Whoops. It's large. I can probably do this one with my hands. Yes. And I just love the colors coordinate so nicely. So this one, let's see, how do I want to do it? Maybe here and here. So again, it kind of draws your eye around the card and adds some interest, of course. And so that is card number 1. Let me know what you think. I love, like I said, the idea of a fun fold. I wanted to do something different, so I hope you like it. I'll be right back with card number 2. That's right. Before I bring in card number 2, I want you to show you this was the only extra supply besides the bling and the card base that I used for that first card, the Deckled Circles dies, and I used the third smallest to cut that one out. And so I just wanted to show you, so if you're going to replicate it, you know which one to use. Here is the second card that I have for you, and it uses the smaller card base, or at least part of it. So we are going to do some cutting. And I did cut this down, and I used, again, part of it on the inside as well, because I wanted it a little smaller. So I cut it at 3.5 by 4. I cut it down to that. So let me grab my trimmer. And it is, yeah, it is actually already 4 inches. So I cut it down to 3.5. And that's going to give me this part. And so I just cut this off at 1/2 inch, which is by the fold. We're going to use that on the inside. So I'm just going to twist or turn it this way to use it on the inside. And then this will be using for our next card. So I'll put that aside for now. Then for this piece comes with the kit. And so I just cut it down again. I think it's almost 4 by 4. So I cut it down to, yeah, it's the same. So 3.5 again, and then it's almost 4 inches long. And we're going to use this on the inside as well. Decided to use up all the little scraps today. So I've got this time a very vanilla card base. And I will flatten it with my bone folder this time. And before I put this on, we're going to wrap it with some twine. And I just used twine from a previous kit, but if you don't have any left over, you can use the Baker's Twine Essentials pack. So you could use this one or this one. I'd probably use this color. I believe it's Crumb Cake, and that's what I would use. So if you don't have any leftovers from previous kits, that's what I recommend. Now I am going to take those larger glue dots again that come with the kit, and I just put a couple on each side on the back toward the bottom, or what's going to be the bottom, so that I could wrap the twine around. It's already coming off the paper there, which is fine. And then one more. I'm going to take the paper off. And I'm going to start it at one end and just wrap it around so it goes around the front 3 times. Changing the angle a little bit. And then give it a snip. And then we'll pull it and adhere it to that last glue dot. So we've got a little bit of interest there. And then I'm going to use my multi-purpose liquid glue to adhere it to the card, because the fact that this adds a little bit of dimension and height, it will be hard for the seal to stick here. So I'm going to use my multi-purpose liquid glue. Making sure to get some good glue around that twine to help hold it from the other side. Glue dots on one side and the glue on the other. We're going to put it here with just a little bit of an edge on each side. And so you'll have to hold it down just a little bit here till it really adheres around the twine. Hopefully that's good. And then we'll put the other one up here. Again, leaving the same amount of an edge on each side as I did on the bottom. And then I have a scrap of vanilla that I used to cut down, you'll see on the next card, from the inside, to cut them down to be the size that I needed for the inside. So I had some scraps, And I thought this worked perfectly to put a sentiment on the front and to go with that "with thanks" stamp that comes with the kit. So here is the stamp, and I'm bringing in this time Poppy Parade because I decided I wanted to bring out the little buds there. And I'm moving it just off of one end. And I'm going to trim it down with my trimmer so that both edges are there's pretty much the same distance here and here. Doesn't have to be exact, but close enough so that it's now centered. Let's see, did we do that on the inside? Yes. So sending autumn wishes your way. I'm going to do that before we finish the tag. I'm going to do the inside. And we're going to do it again in the Poppy Parade. And that's it for our stamping. And so again, on the inside, I use those extra pieces. So we'll do that now while I have the card open. And I overlapped the two of them with the darker one on the bottom just because it was longer. So hopefully get that centered. And then the same thing with this one. And with the flowers, those little buds facing up. And you can even still use that bone folder to flatten that edge a little bit so it's not so conspicuous. So the inside is done. And for the outside, now for this, I just took my snips and made a little snip here in the center, and then cut to each side from the corner to each, or from each corner, I should say, to the center. Make a little flag, and then the same thing on the other side. And then that's going to go right here. It's pretty much the perfect distance. Let's clean this up a little bit. There we go. And again, I'm going to use my seal to adhere to the card. And pretty much keeping it centered on the Cajun Craze piece, and with a little bit of a mat between the top and the little bit with the twine. And so then I use one more piece from the kit, which is this, and I'm just going to put a couple glue dots on the back. Again, the larger one will go on the big leaf, but I'm going to use the smaller ones on the others just because, well, this one will probably work here, but the other ones need a smaller one. So again, I just have leftovers from a previous kit, and that's what I'm using. I keep them handy on my work table. Take the paper off. And I sort of turned it this way to simulate falling leaves a little bit. And I wanted to overlap the tag and put it on the Cajun Craze part. And because it does tend to get lost here, I thought that using it on the cards as they came with the kit, they kind of got lost, and I wanted to make sure that you'd be able to see it. So that is card number 2. Here is card number 3, and it uses the other half of that card that we had cut off. And this one you don't have to cut down because it's going to fit. It's 4 by 4, and it's going to fit perfectly on our card base. So for this one, I have a wild wheat card base. And this is the card that I was talking about in my intro, that when I designed the inside of this one, it gave me the idea for the outside of the next one. A little serendipity there. So we can put this on right away with some seal. And the same thing, let me show you, we can use that bone folder to flatten if we need to. It's not too bad here. Most of the fold was on the other card. I think actually it'll be fine. You can't tell, but if you can, that's all you do is use your bone folder like I showed with the last card. I feel like that's a little bit crooked. I'll try that again. Hopefully that's better. And then I use those deckled circles again, and I believe I used the next size up from the first card. All right, I'm also going to bring in, before we stamp on that, I'm going to bring in another scrap that I have that I cut, and it is, I believe, 1 1/4 inches, yes, by 4. So we're going to use that for down here. And I'm going to bring in a scrap. And so we're going to use both of those. We're going to stamp on both at the same time. So first I need wild wheat. We're going to start with that, even though we don't need it on that one. And with a stamp from the kit, we're going to ink that up. And I just stamped it and then turned it around and stamped not quite on the corner, and it kind of worked out, so hopefully it will again. So we'll imitate what I did for that one, and then we need the leaves again. So we are done with the wild wheat. I don't think I used it. Oh, that's right. Well, okay, maybe we'll do everything at once. That makes the most sense. So I did this for the outside, and then I decided I'm going to do that for the inside as well. So I am going to bring in the scrap and we'll do that. And when I did this, I liked it so much that I decided that would make a really pretty card front. And so that's what I used for the next card. Whoops. But let's bring in the scrap I have for the inside, so that, or the piece. It is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And we're going to do the same kind of thing. We're going to bring in that stamp again and just stamp around the edges. And so this time, you know, I kind of maybe went in a little bit more obviously than I did with the piece on the outside. So, and I am going to follow this just because it kind of worked out nicely. I'm going to follow the same pattern that I did. So this we can set aside for now. And we'll do one here. Got another hair. I don't know where these are all coming from. I think it's from my cat, even though she's not allowed in here. One up at the top. And then I did one about like this. And another one here. And again, you don't have to copy it exactly, but I just know that it's going to work out with the placement of the other leaves. And so we are done with wild wheat. And I'm going to bring in pecan pie. And it's going to get even more complicated because on the front, on this, I stamped in pecan pie in full strength. So I'm going to bring that leaf in. And we are going to do that again. Stamp it in full strength right here. And then move that to the side because that's done. And we'll bring in the small one because that will be faster. But for these two, I stamped off first. So ink, stamp it off. Ink, stamp it off. And I did one here, it looks like. So again, I'm just following the same pattern because I know it will work. But I can tell you, let's see, this one goes like this, that what I did was try to leave room in between these for both of the leaf stamps. So this one will probably, it'll be more of a tight squeeze, but that was the idea, that even here I'll stamp one of each of the stamps so that it sort of is a pattern. Well, it is a pattern all the way around. All right, so this one is done. And so for the inside then, I stamped this one to the right every time. So I'm going to do that same thing again, to the right of what I already stamped, to the right of the wild wheat one. Stamp off, stamp it here. And I did try to change up the direction of the stamp a little bit, again, to give it more interest. And to the right of this one. And once more. Stamp off. And then this one I ended up overlapping one of the leaves with this. So that's what I'm going to do again, which I'll show you. And so we're good with that and with our pecan pie because we did everything that we need to with that. And now we're going to bring in Cajun Craze. And this one I stamped full strength. So same thing, we're going to bring this in. We're going to get the other leaf stamp and ink it up. And stamp it full strength here at an angle. So that one is done. And we'll finish up the front. All right, let's see if we can do this. Not bad. And I don't mind that there's color variation because that's what leaves look like in the real world, so that's not too bad. Let's see. I'm gonna put this here. And I think I might bring in a little bit of that wild wheat again. I feel like it needs one more here. I was doing it more randomly here and more kind of with a plan here, and so that's why I feel like it needs that. But we're not going to use the whole thing. We are going to use maybe this right here. Good. Perfect. All right. And then one more time with the Cajun Craze right here. And so that leaves enough room, hopefully, for our sentiment, which we're going to do in a minute, but we're going to put that there. That's done. And then now for the inside, I mean, I can open it up, but I kind of know what I need to do because I'm just going to fill in spots, okay? So I can put it like this, so it looks like that one. To show you, I have more space here, so we're going to put a larger section of the leaf there, and where I have a smaller space, smaller section of the leaf. This one, that's a really big space. How did that happen? Maybe we'll do that. And part of it here. And then one more on the other side, which I'm going to overlap with this one. And we'll do this. And so now, and again, you know, it doesn't have to be that exact, but I did like the pattern of this one, this one, this one, and then repeating the same pattern. So we are done with Cajun Craze and with the scrap. And I'm just going to bring in Poppy Parade so that we can use that for the sentiment on the front and on the inside. So while I have the inside, we'll do that same, sending autumn wishes your way. And it doesn't matter which way. I think I'll do it this way with, it's a little bit heavier at the top, and I kind of like that because then it gives more room to write at the bottom. Not that it matters that much. But then the inside is done. And we're going to grab this and do the with thanks. Oops, ooh, that's very inky. Hopefully I can keep it straight and not have any mishaps. Perfect. Okay, so that is all of our stamping. And we'll finish with assembly. So let's do the inside first with my seal. And I have to say, I was really impressed with myself. I really like that inside. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I really like that. It just gives it so much more interest, and I was happy I had come up with the thought, and happy that it also sparked an idea for the next card. So let me know what you think in the comments. And then this is going to go here, again with even spacing on each side and in those two spots. Ah, that's what I was afraid of. That's why I did the other one first. Oh no, I'm gonna have to use I have ink eraser, and if I can't get it off, then I will just redo it. So make sure it dries, because that is the problem with the reds. This one seems fine, but this one maybe wasn't quite dry. But like I said, I can swap it out, or if my ink eraser doesn't work, I'm going to try that first. And then for the circle, it goes right in the center. I'm going to try not to touch that red. I don't have any on me. I have other colors. Oh, I have a little bit of red. Make sure that it's off. Oh my goodness. Mishaps, mishaps. And then I used these, and I didn't want to take any out of the package because I wanted to show them to you. These are the woven golden leaves, and there are two different kinds. Some are like that without any embossing, and let's find the one with the embossing. Yes, this is it. This one's embossed. Find one that shows a little more. Maybe that one. So you can see that these are not embossed at all, or hopefully you can see. And this one is, but it seems pretty light, but this one really shows it more. And so yeah, I wanted to use the one that's more dimensional. And it looks like there's a right side and a wrong side, so I'm going to use it this way. And this one actually is smaller. There are two sizes. And I had a dilemma with how to adhere it, because it's transparent. So I just used a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue on the bottom. There it goes. And on the tip. And I can tell you that tip is still coming up. I'm going to put some more on that as well, because it's not staying down. The bottom part is. So that's good. I know that it works. Whoops, and we'll clean up that glue too in a sec, but first I'm going to do this. Actually, I think I do like the smaller one better. And just hold them down for a sec till they catch, because I must not have held the one on the original card down long enough. Oops. And it wants to come off with your finger. So let's see if I can get it to catch. Because the glue dot for sure is going to show. And then I'm going to grab my chamois, clean up the glue. And so yeah, that looks good. And so then last but not least is some bling, which I'm glad I only put on the top of the card so I can show it to you and still not worry about this in case I need to swap it out. So for the bling, I'm using my adhesive backed metallic gems, because metallic is the way to go. And I use the gold ones because of the gold leaf. And so I used one large one. And then a couple of small ones. And especially because there were no copper accents on this card. Otherwise, I probably would have used both. All right, what do you think? That is card number 3. And, you know, I didn't use anything extra except those gold leaves that I showed you. So I don't have anything else to show you. I didn't use any other. I used the or the circles, the deckled circles, but I showed those to you already, so I won't show them again. But let me know what you think. Which flower do you like better, or which leaf, I'm sorry, the larger gold one or the smaller one? I thought I liked the smaller one, but I think now looking at both of them, I may like the larger one. Let me know in the comments what you think. Which one do you prefer? And we will start the last card next. All right, and here is the fourth and last card that I designed. So for this one, I did this one first and I used components from the kit. This is from the kit and this, but there are only 3 of these, and clearly using the stamps to do the kind of the base of the card, you could make as many as you want. So I wanted to show another variation, again using some of the stamps, because this one you could make as many as you want since it uses, again, those deckled circles and the stamps from the kit. And for me, I will say it's difficult to just use stamps, ink, and paper and keep it simple. I like my ribbon and I like my bling, but I really wanted to showcase, and I think this does it nicely, showcase that stamping that I did along the edges. So let me know in the comments which one you prefer, but I'm gonna show you how to do this one because this one is pretty simple. Like I said, this is a strip from the kit, this is from the kit, and I just used a spare strip of the Very Vanilla to do the with thanks and just cut it down and added it to the front of the card. The inside, I used the Sending Autumn Wishes Your Way and did a leaf, and this is stamped off. So was this. So both the Night of Navy and the Crushed Curry are stamped off for this one. So I stamped on my scrap and then stamped on here, and the same thing for this, stamped off. And I did the same thing on the inside with the sentiment, but then I did the little snail that comes with the kit because I had used it on the outside. So we are going to replicate this card, but we are also going to do it in different colors because, yep, these stamps are great with autumn, and some of the, obviously the components are, but I'm going to show you how to make a more summery card as well. And I think I'm going to fix and get rid of, hopefully get rid of that those sunspots as well. So this time I'm starting with a basic white card base. Okay, this one uses Very Vanilla, and then I just did a layer of, in this case, Pecan Pie. That's the same size as the card front, and this one is Night of Navy. But this time I'm going to start with white because I'm using a different color palette. Sorry, I got little bits of glue here. I'm having all sorts of troubles today. Flatten that out. And then for my layer on top, I'm using Melon Mambo. So clearly not a fall card. Make sure that's gonna fit okay. Yes, I think it is. So I'm gonna grab my multi-purpose liquid glue. Didn't get it quite on there the way I wanted. I'm gonna actually put a little bit more glue. It's warm in here today. It's 90 degrees outside, last day of summer. And so things are drying quickly, and I can't reposition unless it's still wet. And I just didn't position it right, and it caught right away. So we can fix that. Let's do it this way. That will help, I think. Oh my goodness. Having all sorts of troubles. Third time's the charm, right? Yeah, the problem is the glue is drying very quickly. Let's try it like this. Yeah, that is better. It's a smidge crooked, but I think I'm going to live with it because I can always cut it down just a smidge if I need to. I think that looks okay. There's a little bit of white here, but I can always trim that off if I need to. Usually a way to fix your problems. Okay, so we're gonna let that dry over there, although it's pretty much dry already. And then I have cut some deckled circles. So I have 2 of the smaller ones. I think this is the second smallest. and then the third smallest. And then I have cut some also as mattes. This is Granny Apple Green, and so this is the next size up to matte with this. And these are all the same size. This is Melon Mambo, and this is Azure Afternoon. So we'll be using those in a minute, but first we're gonna do some stamping. So for our sentiment, we're gonna use that Thinking of You. And I think I decided to use Melon Mambo. All right, and we're gonna stamp that Thinking of You right in the center. Put that aside to dry because we don't want any more mishaps. I will be redoing that one section because it's just, there's too much straight ink. So on that last card, I'm gonna redo that bottom panel, and that's fine. I usually fix a mistake. And now I'm gonna use the leaf. I'm gonna use Granny Apple Green for that to make it more summery. And I think, let's see, I'm trying to think, I'm gonna use the Melon Mambo for the body of the snail, and probably the Granny Apple Green. So we'll use Azure Afternoon for the sentiment on the inside. I'm just trying to figure out colors. So let's see, we'll leave that out. That's what we'll do, and we'll do the snail next. So yeah, we'll use Azure Afternoon for the body of the snail. Not traditional, but it will match. That's what I'm going for right now. So let's do that snail. And the easiest way that I found, and I had some trouble. I had this stamp on the smallest block, on an A block, which is now retired. And it was wanting to not stamp evenly. So I'm trying this one instead in the hopes that it works better because I was having issues. So yeah, we're gonna make our snail blue. Not traditional, I know, but hopefully we will love it. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. Like I said, I stamped one on the inside. So I'm going to do the same thing all at once here. Now we have it out. And hopefully it's definitely stamping better. Ah, see, that's what happened before. The ink is still on the stamp, so I spoke too soon. Let's see if we can fix it. Yes. Love my photopolymer stamps for that very reason. Usually you can fix your mistake. Okay, and then let's see, I'll decide. I don't know if I want to use that for the inside yet for the sentiment. So we'll move that out of the way because one ink pad at a time is probably enough. And then we'll get the body of the snail, and you can see there's one end that's flatter, and so that's what I used to line up with the body, like this. Just a little bit of overlap there. Oh, I like that. He's a non-traditional snail, but I like him, or her. And we'll do the same thing here. And then we're gonna do the leaf. So we are gonna do the leaf in Granny Apple Green. And I am gonna leave that out just for a second because we have to do stamping around the edges, but I wanted to do the rest kind of and get it done so that we can just concentrate on what that's gonna look like. And then, yeah, I think we're gonna use this for the inside sentiment too. So we'll do that as well. Let's grab that leaf stamp. We're gonna use everything full strength. And this, it mostly covers the circle, but not completely. And that's fine. I thought I was gonna get it on here, but actually did pretty well. Okay, so those are all done. We'll put those together in a minute. So I'm gonna do this, or maybe this, let's see. I like the pink with the green. I think we'll do that, but we're going to move those to the side. We're going to do the inside sentiment. And so I'm not going to do Sending Autumn Wishes Your Way, obviously, since it is not autumn. We're not doing this card for autumn. So I have the stamps from the July kit, and we're going to use, let's see, maybe we'll use So Lucky to Have You in My Life. Friends like you make life beautiful. You're simply the best. even Let's Celebrate You if you wanted to use it for a birthday card, but I think we'll use this one. And that'll be the inside sentiment. So again, like I said, I've been really trying to make a point of using my stamps from old kits so they're not just sitting collecting dust. So we're gonna stamp that in the Granny Apple Green so that we've got all 3 colors on the inside. And then the inside is done. And so now for the fun part, we're gonna move that out of the way, bring in the scrap again. We'll turn it around this way because I did find when I was stamping a lighter color and stamping off and I stamped over something like this, it was picking up that color. In fact, you can see it right here. I was using Cajun Craze and it was picking up that exact pecan pie. So keep that in mind. You want kind of a fresh part of your paper when you're stamping off so that that doesn't happen. So we're going to do the same process as we did with the last card. So I'm going to move it up here and we will start with, I think I wanted to use, I sort of was in my head deciding which colors I wanted to use with what. I think we'll use the Melon Mambo with this stamp. So again, I'm going to follow a similar pattern to this just so I don't have to reinvent the wheel. And leave room for a couple stamps. And that's the, you know, the part that you sort of have to keep in mind is that you want it to go all the way around and complete the whole pattern. And so that's what I was kind of conscious of. So we'll do this because I think we need more room here. And then this. And one more over here. Like that, I think. Okay, and we'll see how that works. So we're done with that Melon Mambo. And since we have the Granny Apple Green, we'll do that next. And we'll use that same leaf as we did here so that it matches. And then it doesn't matter which side we do. We'll do it to the left this time of the one we already stamped. Make sure you have good ink. And in the corner, whoops, I want a little more ink on there. And here. And that takes care of our Granny Apple Green. And last but not least, we have the Azure Afternoon with the other stamp. So hopefully this will give us a nice summery feel to the card. And then all we have left is assembly. So hopefully that's dry. Because again, those thicker stamps tend to take a little bit longer to dry, more so with the reds for some reason than the blues and the greens, but we'll make sure. It looks pretty good though. So we'll grab stamp and seal. Looks good, and then we'll put all of these together, also with the seal. And then I kind of put them in a line, and I was thinking, I wondered how it would be if I clustered them more like this. so that the edges would show a little more, maybe like that. Let's try that and see what it looks like. So I'm going to do this one first. And then for this, I'm going to use my dimensionals. And we'll take the paper off. Let's see. Yep, I think that's pretty good. So it shows a little bit more of the edges than this one does. All right, let me know what you think. Do you like this design or this one, or do you like that one better? I do like that because, like I said, especially having the same leaf in the same color, that's why I stamped off, because I thought it matched nicely. I really like the way that coordinates, but I also like the idea of using the stamps that come with the kit. Oops, and I did this the other day too. That snail is crooked. We gotta fix that. I wasn't paying enough attention when I put it down. There we go, much better. But I did the same thing with this one. So that is it. That is card number 4. All right, so let me bring in the rest of the cards. This obviously card number 4. This was card number 1. And again, using the deckled circle. And as I look at that, it might actually be a good idea to ink around the edges, maybe with that Night of Navy, to give it a little more interest and a little more contrast, just like that has the copper. And again, using the leaf from the die set, I actually like this better than even what comes with the kit because it's a little more defined and it's a little thicker, a little more dimensional. Here is card number 2, and here is card number 3. And I'm just going to show the one that I completed because I still have to redo the bottom panel on the other one, but it will be certainly in the photo that I use on my video, so you'll be able to see it there. And let me know what you think. This is the this was actually the first one that I did, so this is the larger leaf, and let me know what you think between using the larger one and the smaller one, and let me know which card is your favorite. Thanks so much for joining me. I say it every month, but I mean it from my heart. I really appreciate you watching. I so appreciate you leaving me love in the comments and letting me know your thoughts on what you liked or which variation you prefer, that kind of thing. And watching every month definitely means a lot to me. I invite you to take a look at the rest of my videos. I have lots of other cards. I have scrapbook pages, and I've been doing at least one a month on my Facebook page, so you can check that out if you're a scrapbooker too. Let me know too in the comments if you would like me to use the kits to design a scrapbook page or two, because I would love that as well if I know that there's interest. I also have home decor items, tips, techniques, beginner videos, so I have a lot there that hopefully you will find useful and helpful. So check those out. Subscribe to my channel, click on the bell, and you'll be notified when I post new videos. I do paper pumpkin alternatives every single month, just about, so unless something crazy happens and I don't have time. So check those out too, and I will see you again soon. Take care, everyone. Happy stamping.